Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be installing a custom wire harness into my 2010 Ford Transit Connect so I can pull a small trailer that I just built. Those of you who follow my channel already watched me build the trailer, or had the opportunity to watch me build the trailer. Anyhow, I need to get the wiring set up so I can pull that trailer, and this is the product that I purchased, made by CURT, custom wiring harness, and it's product number 56090. I'm going to wire this 4-way flat output plug, and the reason I had to buy this harness is because to wire a flat 4 into a modern vehicle that has a third amber blinker, you have a conflict between the blinker and the brake light on this particular trailer. It just has a light that either does blinker or it does brake. So I ordered my kit off of eTrailer. I do have an Amazon affiliate account, and I found the exact same kit on Amazon, so I'll put a link in the description below for this particular kit. And it's a little more expensive on Amazon, but if you have Prime you'll save your shipping, so they'll both come out about the same once you pay for the shipping, because I had to pay, I don't know, $7 or $8 in shipping to get this from eTrailer. My package looks like it's been opened and then restapled, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to open up the package now and kind of take an inventory of the parts and make sure everything is here, and then I'm going to get to start installing this. The reason I'm making this video is I read lots and lots of comments on this particular kit for the 2010 to 2012, I believe it is, Ford Transit Connect to install this kit. CURT is claiming that it's a plug-and-play system, and there's lots of nasty comments saying that it's not plug-and-play because they have to cut wires to pass connectors through some of the grommets in the taillight structure of the van. So if you want to follow along on the video, if you're thinking about doing this or doing this for yourself, I'll let you know what I find out on my 2010 Transit Connect. Mine happens to be an XLT model. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but we'll see if I need to cut wires. If I do, I'm going to be doing some cutting and soldering and doing the long route, but at least it's going to be secure and complete and done right by the time I'm finished. And with using this kit, it's got a module on here that is supposedly supposed to do the conversion for the blinker and the brake light and prevent you from messing up the wiring that's already installed, the stock wiring that's in your van, because Ford in the United States did not send this van out with tow packages. They do in Europe, but I believe that's probably because the European models have diesel and standard transmission options, where you don't have that in the US version. Anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to open this up. We'll see what we got in the box. Alright, I think I'm in luck. I got the package opened up, and it looks to me like everything is here. They recommend that this unit be powered by directly from the battery, so they gave a 12 gauge good quality wire to run from the back of the vehicle up to the battery compartment. They gave you a fuse holder, a bag with some zip ties and some connectors, and a piece of double sticky tape. You're supposed to mount this inside the vehicle to where it's going to be able to get ventilation and where it won't get wet. They gave a little cover for your 4-way plug and a generous amount of wire. I don't know how much wire is there, but it's definitely more than enough for my application. They give you some silicone, not silicone, well, it says, yeah, black silicone, I guess, for resealing the seals that you're supposed to be passing these wires through. And then here's the harness. So you've got the 4-way connected to the, I think it's called the converter or module, I don't know what it is, what its terminology is. Then it has a hot wire This is what goes up to the battery, connected with those wires there. You've got a ground already with a ring terminal installed, and then you've got these two T-harnesses. This one is for the driver's side where the module is located, and then a pretty long green wire that goes across the back underneath the vehicle to the other T connection, which plugs into your passenger side wire, standard wire harness. Now, just looking at the connectors, they are the same as the connectors that are on my van, so I don't think that the connectors will be a problem. Now, this could be, the problem is you got to run this into the light fixture area for the passenger side, and there's not a grommet or a hole access hole big enough to pass this whole T system through. So what I may end up doing is cutting this green wire at some point, pass it through a small grommet, and then resolder it. That's what's going to be the time consuming part, but I'm not going to drill any holes in the van. There's already grommets, they're just very, very small, and definitely way too small to pass this through. So it should be fairly simple. Now, if you didn't have to worry about cutting wires and resoldering, you could access that tail light compartment on the passenger side easily. This would just be a real quick, easy plug and play like they're claiming. But the problem is finding an access point. We'll see if I have one of those on my van or not. They give you some instructions. This is instructions how to take the lead up and connect to the battery. And then this is the installation instructions on how to install the entire harness. And then they give you some step-by-step instructions 1 through 11 on the back and 6 pictures. Let me show you on the back of my van. To get the tail lights out, on the inside of the rear swinging door, just open up the door, and then you've got access to these 2 plastic screws, and all you do is you just unscrew both of them, and then your tail light will pop out the back. The fixture just pulls out of its location there. It has a connector pin, a 6-pin connector, which is where you're going to connect that T. Now I need to look down in here, do some scouting around to see if I can find a place to pass the wires through. The reviews I read, they're absolutely correct. There's not a big enough hole coming into this compartment in order to pass those connectors through. So what I'm going to do is have to splice that one green wire for this side. This is the passenger side. See down in the bottom, right down there, is a grommet, but it's small and you cannot access, on my van, there's no access to that from below the van. So all I did was cut a split into the end of that grommet, and I'm going to pass my wire through that and then, you know, seal it with that black silicone that they gave me. And that'll put the adapter into this side. You see that spot right down in there, kind of a flat spot, sort of flat. I'm going to put the double-sided tape on here, push that down into that hole, and then stick that to the wall right there. Okay, when you're mounting the module, I was not impressed with the tape they provided. I kind of got it stuck in there and it was too high, so I pulled it out. I'm using some 3M extreme tape. This is good stuff. I just happened to have it laying around. Cut a couple of strips in half and doubled the thickness. And then I'm going to put that module in there. I need to put it down about as far down in the hole as I can put it, so that hopefully it's below the top of the outer rim of this pocket. So there's where I put the module, and it was kind of tricky to poke down in there. I put it in there sideways and stuck it to the side of the metal. So I got wires coming out the left and right side of it. The whole trick is to get it below this bottom ledge. Otherwise your tail light fixture will hit it. So then out of that particular fixture, I've got the white wire coming up, and it already has an eyelet on it. I just pulled that bolt out where the regular grounds are at and put my ground underneath it and put the bolt back in. And then I've got the black, which is the hot wire, is going to go up to the battery, the green, and then the flat 4 plug. So I've cut that off from the module. I left about a foot. And then the green one, I cut it off as well. I left about a foot on this end because that's going to go through the hole on the other side. And then what I did was I pulled that plug out of right there. This is it right here. Cut a slit in it so I can run my wires through. They're going to fit through there like this. And all these wires, the flat 4, the green that goes to the right blinker, and the hot, going to come out of that. And this is really, honestly guys, it's a pain in the neck. I'll have to splice all these wires back together. I've read some posts on forums about people having this done at a dealership, and it costs them about 350 bucks. So yeah, it's taken up some of my time, but at least it won't cost me $350 to do this. But yeah, there's just no access hole in this compartment here made for these big wires because this was not designed with the tow option. So anyway, I'm gonna get that all routed and packed and through that grommet stuck in that little spot there, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Got those poked through that grommet, those 5 wires at the module down there in the bottom. And then on this side, the yellow wire, half of it plugs into the existing wire that comes out of the van that would normally plug right into your tail light. You plug that wire in, and then this plugs into your tail light. Tuck it back in that hole, and then you're ready to put the tail light fixture back in on this side. And this side will be complete. I got my installation completed. So here's a look at the driver's side wiring. I've got the 4 wires coming out, and I soldered those together, heat shrunk them with some hot glue on the joints so that they're waterproof. My power wire has the same thing, and then the green wire runs down behind this bumper and comes over to this side, and it goes into the grommet there. And I had the same thing with a solder joint with heat shrink and hot glue, because I didn't have any of those store-bought connectors that have the hot glue in them. Solder on with the hot glue so they seal for moisture. So I made my own with what I had on hand. I just didn't want to have to go to town and pick up parts. Then I ran the hot wire all the way underneath the van up to the battery and secured it. That was a pain in the neck, but it's doable. And then I got my 4-way plug on the end with the cap. Right here on the back, I just zip tied it to the CURT receiver hitch, and then I just tuck it in that little hole there to keep it secure. So the answer to the question on this particular kit is it is not a plug and play, and that's not CURT's fault. I would say that they need to probably stop advertising it as such for this particular van, the 2010, because there's just no access holes. If there was access holes to run those connector pins through, it would be a plug and play. It'd be pretty simple. Of course, that running that power line is not plug and play. Mine ended up being a pretty custom installation and took me quite a while. I suppose if you took it to a shop and paid somebody to do it, it'd cost you that 350 bucks, as I read in one of the reviews about it. Who knows what, each shop will charge a different thing, but they'll probably use these crimp-on connectors for those splices, which work okay. I personally don't like them. They're not watertight. They usually end up getting corroded or coming loose inside there, and then you got problems with your trailer lights, and I don't want to have to deal with that. So everything I did on mine is soldered. But it took me a long time, and it's pretty labor intensive. It's not hard, it just takes a lot of time and detail work to get it done. So anyway, I do like the kit. I think it's a pretty good deal. I paid, I think, 55 bucks for mine, and then 7 bucks to ship or something like that. They had it slashed. It was regularly $97, I think, or 110. I can't remember which. But that's just outrageous. That's way too much money. Let's just hope that that little converter in there lasts for a while. We'll see how it does. At the moment, I'm set up and I got the proper wiring and lighting, and I didn't have to cut into my van wires, the wire harness of the van, so that's a good thing. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something, and for those of you who are out there, that's really why I made this video, so you can learn a little bit about that kit. Instead of reading all those reviews, you'll actually know maybe a little bit more, but it is a fact. There's not a big enough grommet hole to run those plugs through, so you're going to have to cut and splice, whether you solder or crimp or whatever, so it's not really a plug and play. Anyway, we'll catch you guys on the next one. We'll get out of here and let you go. See ya.